are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I was kind of muted there for a moment. So, are you ready for yet another foray into the mists?
I'm always down for a foray, regardless of how that foray ends.
Well, it's this is one that I had planned for a while, and I think as you found out last week, there was one of the players that was like, geez, I really hope that Barovia is not part of this. And I was thinking when I set this up, nope, too bad. If you don't like Barovia,
Barovia won't like you.
yeah. Well,
won't like you anyway, but you know.
Yeah, but you know the thing is, and you've experienced this if you've played in this campaign for multiple times, you know that it could be the same setting, the same story, but you get a different group of players. It's a completely different game every time.
How they react to Strahd as well, I've experienced it. Different people try to appease him. Some people try to assassinate him. Some people try to kill him. There's all sorts of takes I've seen on it. When you start speaking to them telepathically, it's like, ooh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
no spoilers from me. I'm hyped.
Yeah, I was trying to think now where would be a good place to bring them in, because there's a lot of places that they can come in and it's a little too low level, other places that come in a little too high, and then I thought, what about having them come in and try to rescue somebody right after that?
That's a good one. And this is an important character, so it's good that you've got to introduce this early. Because no one else is here. She's one of Strahd's enemies.
Yes, there's actually a very interesting thing with her and her bloodline. That when I read through the adventure the first time, I completely missed it, and it wasn't until I was going back and doing some research, actually for a Monster Monday, that a connection was made out. Oh, wait. Oh. Because there's several NPCs. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's very interesting.
I can't wait until people have to confront the various difficulties that Strahd will present.
Yeah. Hey, Skylin, thanks for joining us. As Paul and I are shooting the breeze for right now. The rest of the players seem to be a little tardy here, so I'm gonna go ahead.
It might be the time change, right? Last week we had the hour jump.
Yeah, most people probably should have worked through that by now, but I think that this. And then, do you guys still do the British summertime thing? And if so, when does that kick in?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because it's of course it's never at the same time. Hey, James, we were just wondering where everybody was, and speculating that perhaps the time change monster had affected some people.
No, I'm here. I'm good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, you're coming in a little hot, James.
Okay, hold on.
We can lower you.
Yeah. He was just a little bit distorted too on his mic. That's what I was thinking.
So not coming in very good.
No. The gain is up so loud that it's distorting your voice. It's pushing up against the.
Still doing it?
Not as much now. No.
Okay.
Now it's clear. Clear.
I initially had it plugged in the wrong slot, and then I was starting talking right after I put it in the other slot, so it probably was not adjusted correctly until probably took a few seconds to get adjusted.
Okay.
Nice and
All
clear.
right. Yeah, very good. And the other thing I can do is I can do this. Okay. All right, and Michael. Hey, Michael. Welcome. But he is muted. Okay. All right. Well, we have 3 of our 4 players here. I am going to I'm going to mute my mic for a moment and make sure the music is turned.
Hello. What's up?
Loud and clear, Michael.
Hey.
Hey, so last week we decided we were just going to take this guy to the girls' village, right? Is that what we agreed upon? All right.
Yeah, we agreed we were going to take him back to her father to let him deal justice.
Yep, cool.
Okay, and speaking of that, welcome, everybody. I am DM Galabon. This is Thursday night, and we are here for the Sword Coast Chronicles session 37, session that I would like to call Welcome to Barovia, because last week, as the characters fled from Demogorgon attacking the town of Gracklestug in the Underdark, they stumbled into a mushroom forest and had sounds of pursuit coming after them through a large cavern with mushrooms as tall as trees. And when they hid off to the side, eventually they discovered that they actually were in a forest of real trees, not mushrooms the size of trees. And a few hours later, a gray light of dawn began to appear in the east. And through the mist, they eventually saw they were by the shore of a large lake. And everything was gray. Sky was gray, cloudy, overcast, a little bit dreary. But they rescued a girl from a fisherman who was trying to throw her in a lake while she was bound up in a burlap sack. And the fisherman seemed almost comatose when they reached him. The girl identified herself as Arabelle and told them that since they were strangers, that it was the mist itself that had brought them here to save her life. And where here is? Well, here is the Valley of Barovia. And at the end of the session, they had decided that of the options the girl presented, they were going to take this fisherman whose name is Bluto Carveroff or something like that. They were going to take Kargaroff. They were going to take Bluto back to the camp where the girl's father lives and allow her people, called the Vistani, to visit some Vistani justice on this Bluto for his transgressions. And with that in mind, we are going to move over to the map and show where we left the party right by the lake shore. And they said that they were going to the party was going to follow Arabelle around the lake, or around this forest, and come to her village, which is right over here at the edge of this walled town. Instead of going through the town, because then they would have to explain what they were doing with this Krogorov, this Bluto Krogorov fellow. So we'll go ahead and I will grab these 2 tokens and we'll just kind of move them down here. And as you reach the old Svalich road, you see a trail that leads kind of up toward, or up a hill to the west of the town, and it goes a little way into a forest, but you can see that up in the forest there is a place where there are several streamers of light blue smoke that are rising in the gray morning air. And after about a 5 or 10 minute walk up this hill, you reach a large camp, a circular camp that is at the top of a hill. The woods part to reveal an expansive clearing, a small grass-covered hill with low houses built into its sides. Fog obscures the details, but you can see that these buildings feature elegantly carved woodwork and have decorative lanterns hanging from their sculpted eaves. Atop the hill, above the fog, is a ring of barrel-topped wagons that surround a large tent with a column of smoke pouring through the hole in the top. The tent is brightly lit from within, and even at this distance you can smell the odors of wine and horses that emanate from this central area.
As we're walking up this hill or area, I'm going to bring Casper into the material plane and have him go up and just scatter around the area.
Okay. All right. He can... you can go ahead and let him go up there, and he will have what? He's got advantage on any perception checks?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
19.
Okay, 19. 19 is pretty good. He notices. Let me do this. Okay. All right. He notices as he gets close to the circle of low houses down at the bottom of the hill that there is one of the houses that has somebody standing in front of it. And he'll kind of describe this person when he gets back within range. Standing quietly in front of this house, bathed in the warm light of its lanterns, are 3 sullen, gray-cloaked figures, their angular features and black flowing hair half hidden under their cowls. And then as he flies up closer to the center of this circle, he will, of course, see horses that are hobbled, and they appear to be hobbled to large tree trunks that have like basically been stripped of their branches and driven into the ground like large stakes, and the horses are tethered around those, and there's like maybe 8 or 10 of those around this large tent. And on the north east side of this tent, the flaps are pulled back, and he can hear the sound of human music coming from in the tent, and the smells of human cooking food coming from in there. And these brightly covered wagons, there are some people, appear to be adults, both men and women and children, that are, around these wagons and moving, some of them climbing in and out of the wagons by little stairs and doors on the back, and then going in and out of the large central tent area as well.
Okay.
So then he'll come back to you and he'll tell you about the figures that he saw out in front of the house.
And they're just stationary. They're just the 3 sullen gray cloaked. They're just standing there.
They're standing there. They appear to be probably in conversation with each other.
Okay. All right. Looks like a normal village. It's like a traveler's camp, like a temporary village. I tell to the other members.
And if memory serves, Mulek was the one who put a few clues together last week from some of the things they heard about. Is that correct, or was that Thaldor? That
it was a little bit of us both, because we both had pretty high history rolls last week.
Okay.
Yeah, about the
Okay. Then Mulek. Actually, both of you roll a d20, and I'll see which one of you knows this little esoteric piece. So it's a 9 for Mulek, and Thaldor, go ahead and roll a d20. 6. Okay. Well, it was Mulek after all. Mulek, you remember that tails of brightly colored wagons go with the Vistani.
Okay.
So, that was one of the details that you had heard about before, that you guys had heard about before. And yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, they're...
It's looking very Vistani. The child so far has spoken the truth. I just kind of whisper quietly to him as we're walking.
Okay. And as you get closer, little Arabelle will turn back to you, and she'll smile, and she's like, "Oh, they are cooking breakfast. Come on!" And she waves to you, and she starts, kind of in that childlike way, just starts sort of skipping up towards the top of the hill. And as you guys get a little closer, she gets maybe 30 to 60 feet in front of you. And as you guys get a little closer, you now see those 3 gray cloaked figures standing in front of one of those houses. One of them points, and there's a little bit of a cry, and it sounds like a happy cry. A little bit of a cry goes up, and a couple of them start sprinting towards the girl. And you hear one of them say, Arabelle, you are safe. Your father has been worried about you. And so she turns and she looks back towards you and she waves you forward. And now those figures, all three of them are kind of moving towards her. And now they sort of turn and look towards you guys. And she says, "Oh yes, it's fine. It's fine. These nice people, they saved me from Pluto." And the three of them look, and you can see that all three of them have the look of kind of like hunters or woodsmen of some kind, and they kind of look towards Bluto, and they scowl a little bit, and two of them sort of push their cloaks back and reveal the hilts of short swords, and the third one kneels down and says, "Arabelle, what did he do to you? You must tell me. I owe a blood oath to your father." And she says, "Oh, stupid. He thought that if he threw me in the lake would give him fish. But and he's just an idiot. And they were like, throw you in the lake?" Yes, he put me in a sack and he was going to throw me in the lake. But they saved me." And now three very dark scowls turn towards Bluto. And as two of the men walk towards you, you can see that they have the features of elves, but they are unlike any elves that you all have seen before. You obviously are familiar with the wood elves, kind of the darker colored surface elves, sort of blend in with the trees and live in the forest and things like that. And you're familiar with the high elves or the sun elves, sort of the very fair-skinned elves of the surface. And if you've never seen one in person, you've seen plenty of paintings or artist renderings of drow. I don't think you you may have seen one or two drow in Gracklestug, but not very many while you were there. So, if you had any firsthand dealings with drow, it was probably before you went to the Underdark. But these elves are not like any of those. Instead of having sort of an olive complexion or a very fair complexion or kind of a bluish, purplish skin tone, these have sort of an ashen, pallid gray skin tone. In fact, the gray of their skin seems to match kind of the gray of the clouds in the sky. It's like an overcast day was turned into skin and was given to these people. And it's a very, very strange skin tone for an elf, something that you all have probably never seen.
I look over at Mulek. Hey, I kind of keep my voice kind of low. Hey, did we let our Lich Daddy know what was going on after we left Gragglestug?
The last thing I communicated to the Lich was that that Demigorgon or whatever had come in and was wreaking havoc on Gracklestug, and he said to get out. That was the last that I communicated to him.
I think we need to try to communicate with him sometime between now and tomorrow, I imagine, and see what he thinks about all this and say, we don't know where the hell we're at.
Yeah, I've prepared the spell as well. I plan on sending a few messages if I can by the end of the day. And Are the others looking at us, or are they still having conversation?
Well, the two of them sort of stand. They don't appear to pose any threat to you, but they definitely are giving the evil eye to this Bluto character. And the third one, who had been kneeling down and talking to Arabelle, he finally says, "Well, it is good you are safe. We will bring your friends to your father and tell him what is happening." And he stands up and he sort of puts just rests a hand on her head, and then he walks towards you and he extends a hand and he says, "Thank you, friends, for bringing Arabelle back safely. I am Casimir Velikov, and welcome to our little encampment. Please come with me. Arabelle's father has been worried about her. He will want to reward you for bringing her back safely."
Oh, we got this fat bugger for you to make a decision on too. Just kind of wiggle Bluto around.
And he says, "Yes. Arabelle's father will know what to do with him." And he just kind of gives a long, cold stare at Bluto, but then he turns back to the rest of you and he smiles and he says, "Come, we will have breakfast." And so he starts to walk up, and of course Arabelle starts to skip ahead and everything, and as you get closer to the top of the hill, you can now start to hear music coming out of that tent, and you hear the music of pipes and fiddles and probably some percussion instruments and whatnot, and it sounds like just like folk dance type music is being played. It's very, very jolly and happy music, in sharp contrast with the way the sky looks. And then as Arabelle is ahead of you, she kind of apparently comes into view of the people there before you do, and there is a big shout, and it's kind of a joyous shout that goes up from the voices of men. "Ah, Arabelle, there you are! Ah, ah!" And that is going up, and you hear other voices, and you hear like the sound of people kind of scurrying probably out of that tent to find her. And she sort of stops and she looks back to you and she waves you all on.
Hey, Gally, would it make an, I guess, accurate representation that these people are kind of like gypsies?
They would probably be in Waterdeep and in the Forgotten Realms. The Vistani would definitely be considered gypsies. They are people who mysteriously appear with these brightly colored wagons and travel about. They seem itinerant, and maybe they'll stop in towns, and they always seem to have music and these brightly colored clothes and things like that. And they'll do services, like they'll do menial labor, or they'll repair little household items or things like that for a few copper coins when they go to a village. They tend not to go into large cities or big towns, and a lot of folks in places like Waterdeep, there's like some very sort of disparaging rumors about the Vistani. It's popular in some quarters for mothers to tell their children that if they are not good, the Vistani will steal them away. And
Got you.
you know, so it's like that. And yeah, I mean,
I was just getting a mental image. Yeah, I was just getting a mental image. Like, okay, this kind of reminds me of like a gypsy band that would go around and from like, yeah.
Definitely, they have that kind of reputation in the Forgotten Realms. And they, so as you come into this area, you will see that that there are two large men who both bear somewhat of a resemblance to little Arabelle. One a little bit more so than the other. The one fellow, he is a little bit stockier and very broad-shouldered. And as you see him, he is jogging down the hill with his arms outstretched. And he says, "Arabelle, my sweet, my little girl." And he gives her a big bear hug, and he picks her up and he spins her around, and she giggles and laughs and everything. And he holds her up above his head, and then he brings her back down and holds her where he can look right into her eyes. And he says, "My daughter, you gave us very, very much fear this morning when you were not here. And what is this? Your hair is wet. Tell me true. What have you done? Where have you been?" And she kind of laughs and she says, "Oh, it's okay, Daddy. They saved me." And she points towards you all. And he looks, and he's got kind of a gruff beard and maybe hair that's kind of hangs down to about his collar, and a bit disheveled and sort of unkempt. And he looks in your direction, but he gives you all a big smile, and he says, "Oh, visitors, please come. You have brought my daughter home to me. I am in your debt. Please allow me to feed you breakfast, and then we will talk about the price of how I can repay you. Come, I am Lugash." And then another man who bears a strong family resemblance to both of them, he strides up. He's about a head taller, and he's a little bit leaner than this Lugash. Has kind of whereas Lugash has sort of a full black beard, this other man has kind of a Van Dyke black beard going on. And he says, "I am Arabelle. Little Arabelle is my niece. I thank you. I would repay you as well for seeing my brother's daughter come home safe." And then he looks past you at the elf, and he says, "Casimir, I see that look on your face. What is it that you have to tell me?" And Casimir says, "Arabelle, perhaps I should talk to you before we talk to Luvash." And Arabelle puts a hand on his brother's shoulder and says, "Brother, I will handle this." And he claps the elf on the back, and the two of them walk off kind of around the other side of the tent. And now you can see, I guess, Krenraid, it's kind of clear now that you guys are here that the elves sort of expect that you're going to turn this Bluto over to their custody. They're not going to drag him out of your hands, but they're clearly kind of edging up like, okay, you guys have done everything that you need to. We'll handle it from here. But how would you respond to that?
I mean, I have no problem handing him over. I'll probably just drop him on the ground none too nicely and just let them take him.
Okay, and when you do that, they just sort of look at you, and like the barest hint of a smile touches their lips, and then they pick him up. They pick him up just about as roughly as you dropped him, and they start to take him off, and then Luvash says, "Arabelle, there is something you are not telling me, but I will hear of it from Arabelle. If you have been making mischief, my daughter, we will have words." And she says, "No, Daddy, I wasn't making any mischief." And, all right, my sweet. And he gives her a little kiss on the forehead, and he sets her down. Oh. And then he steps up towards you all and reaches out a large hand. And you can tell this guy, he's not quite built with the build of a blacksmith, but maybe kind of the build of a lumberjack. Clearly, this is a guy that does a lot of physical labor, and he's very, very strong. He's got a bit of a belly on him, and he has a ready smile and kind of a rich baritone voice, and he gives you all a chuckle, and he says, "Oh, come, you must have some breakfast." And he looks at Krenraid, and he says, "And you, dwarf, yes, we have some ale. I would have your opinion on how good our ale is. I have heard that your people have an excellent taste."
I don't know about my friends here, but I could never say no to some free ale.
And he's like, "Yes, it is good to welcome a dwarf into our hold. Come, gentlemen, come." And by this time, people had come out, and now there is a woman who is probably either Luvash's wife, or maybe his sister, maybe Arabelle's wife, but clearly some woman that's a relative of Arabelle's, and she's standing there kind of with her hands on her hips and sort of giving Arabelle this look like, "What have you been up to?"
That's adorable.
And DM, really quick question. Luvash is the father of Arabelle, and Arabelle is the uncle to Arabelle, correct?
Correct. And Arabelle is Luvash's brother.
And they're human?
Yes, they are human.
So, but Casimir was the drow?
Casimir is an elf with gray skin.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And the rest of the other people are generally human?
Yes, everybody else that you've seen so far is human.
All right.
And so they will bring you up, and you see that these big poles that are out there, you see that there are about 6 or 8 horses lashed or tethered to most of them, except for one. And at one of these poles, it looks like the ground is kind of churned up, like there were some horses there earlier, but now there is a young human male who looks to be maybe in his 20s, and he is standing facing that pole with his arms wrapped around the pole, and his wrists are lashed together, and his shirt has been stripped off of him, and you can see crisscrossing on his back some relatively fresh, like within the last few hours, lashes from a whip. And Luvash looks at him and says, Lexi, you are lucky. No more lashes for you. My daughter has returned. But I hope this has taught you. You will keep a better eye on the children when you are set to watch them. And the man, he just like kind of grunts a little bit, and he clearly seems very physically uncomfortable, like he's still quite in quite a bit of pain from the punishment that he has received. And he says, and then Luvash looks back at you and he grins and he says, this is how we deal with people who shirk their duties when they should not. But you will find we treat heroes like heroes deserve to be treated. And he sweeps you into the tent. And when you go in, you see a big, huge central bonfire in the middle with like a big spit over it. And there are several joints of meat being roasted over that. And there are some like little freestanding grill grills on feet that are just around the edge of the fire, and some of them have some big pots on it that women appear to be stirring with ladles. And you have people they're all humans in here. If you look hard, you might see one or two elves of those gray-skinned elves smattered in, but there are men of Luvash's age. There are people in their teens and 20s. There are people that look like they might be the age of Luvash's parents. And there are also a fair number of children. And every single one of them has the brightest colored clothing on that you have ever seen anywhere, and it's all kind of jarring colors. Like, clearly people have not tried to match their colors, but they'll have like blues and reds and yellows and greens and orange and purple and everything all mixed in on their clothing. So, they have multicolored pants, multicolored cloaks, shirts that are usually the shirts are of a solid color, but the shirts can be any color in the rainbow, and then a few that you're not sure whether they actually exist in nature anywhere or not. But there's all kinds of people, and then folks are singing and folks are dancing and folks are playing music. And now it seems like that celebration has been redoubled since the missing girl has returned. And so Luvash will say, come. And he leads you over to a table and begs you to sit down. He says, please take your breakfast with me, and I will see that you have all the food that you need. Wife, what are we having today? And she says there's some roasted beef and they have some roasted fowl, and then there's a stew that they have, and of course this is sort of breakfast, and then they have some fresh baked bread, and you guys can smell that bread, and actually that bread smells pretty good. And he will get plates filled with whatever you want and bring those to you, and he'll also bring you cups of wine, mugs of water, mugs of ale, and he brings a special mug of a dark ale that he pours out of a medium-sized cask, and he brings that over to Krenraid. He says, "Friend dwarf, please, I would like to have you know. I would like to know what you think of this ale."
I mean, I won't say no. Let me just get a good taste of it. I'll just chug it.
Okay, you do,
like some splatters everywhere because of the beer a bit.
Yeah. And as you do, he throws back his head again, and he gives this rich, hearty laugh. He says, "Well, friend, if you drink it that quickly, it must not. It must at least be pleasing to the dwarven palate." And it is this kind of dark, sort of nutty, roasted flavor of an ale, and it has a few little notes, like almost a few faint little notes of like caramel. But that's it has otherwise a very rich and hearty and savory flavor to it.
I wouldn't want to drink too much of this because it's awfully sweet, but it is lovely.
And he says, "Oh, good. Well, I'm glad it meets with your approval."
Perfect with some meat, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, certainly. And so once you all are served, he will fix his own plate, and then he'll sit down, and he says, "Now, my brother will tell me in his way, but I would like to know from what did you see? What had happened to my daughter? Please tell me."
Well, when we showed up, he had taken her in a burlap sack and threw her into the lake. I jumped in. My boys here jumped in the boat, and we started getting into the water, and they started getting in the water as I got to the bag and started dragging her back towards shore, and they contested with him, and here we are.
Oh, this is how Pluto repays my hospitality.
He said something about wanting to get loads of fish, and he was going to use your daughter as a kind of like a appeasement or bait. I don't know,
like a Lucky's rabbit foot.
Yes, Pluto would believe that nonsense. Well, I am in your debt. You have saved my daughter's life. And for that, after breakfast, I will allow you to choose something from our treasure wagon. And then
Thaldor smiles.
And then if you wish, you may sit as part of the council that decides Pluto's fate.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I look over at Krenrad and I probably see him smiling ear to ear, and I just shake my head.
And he says, outsiders, of course, are given a role as advisors to the council. We will make the final decision, but you rescued my daughter. You should have a say. in a recommendation, if you will, as to Pluto's fate.
Well, I've already punched him really, really hard, so I kind of feel like I'm alright.
Ah, so that is why his nose is crooked. I like you even better, friend dwarf.
It was an improvement, I'll be honest.
Yes, that it is. Oh, Pluto he is a sad case of a human being. It's a shame that he wasn't born one of the soulless.
One of the what now?
One of the soulless.
Is that like someone who is soulless? They have less soul?
You say when you arrived, you saw what was happening. How did you come to Barovia? Did you come through the east gate or the west gate? How did you get here?
We're still asking ourselves that question.
It was the Misty Gate, if there is one.
So what happened was we were being chased by this giant dragon that had been sent mad by this giant god, and then we were running from that situation. We ran into a bunch of mushrooms, and then it got all really, really scary. And I was like, "Oh, what is going on?" And then I was so scared because I saw something that was moving in the mists, right? And that confused me even more. And then someone picked me up, and then we wound up in a forest.
I reach over and just pat him on the shoulder. Whoa. Yeah,
and
yes.
While
Krenraid
Krenraid is talking, Luvash very slowly reaches out, picks up the mug of ale that he's been drinking, and moves it away from Krenraid.
Yeah,
and he kind of looks,
like, whoa, Krenraid.
Looks at it, and he looks up at Mulek, and he says, "That is more powerful ale than I thought."
Anyway, and then we woke up in a forest, and then we found that the girl was screaming in a bird outside. The guy went out in the boat. We did the whole thingy-majiggy, and then here we are. I'll take that ale back now. I'll start pulling it back towards me.
And then he looks at the rest of you as though to ask if you all think it's safe for him to have more of this ale.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Kren is just a bard in training. He thinks he's a bard sometimes, likes to tell fantastical stories.
And then he gives the ale back. He says, "But is there some truth in what he says that you were in one place and in mist, and then when the mist cleared, you were here?"
Yes.
Then our Lord smiles on us, for the mist brought you here to save my daughter's life.
We are from, most of us are from the Sword Coast?
The Sword Coast.
Yeah, what is that called, DM? I mean, what's the name of
the continent is called Faerun.
Okay, Faerun. Yeah, we are from the continent of Faerun, and mostly the local area would be the Sword Coast.
Sword Coast. Oh. These names are not familiar to me, but I do not doubt you. The travelers come to Barovia from many places. Some come here with the Vistani. Some are brought here by the mists for purpose that is unclear. But in your case, I see that you were brought to save a life. This is very noble. You are a friend to the Vistani, and you will have our protection while you are here.
It's always nice to have friends, especially when the friends have nice, tasty ale.
You mentioned a lord.
Yes.
Your lord smiles upon you. Who is that? again?
Oh, that is our Lord Strad von Zerovich. Perhaps you saw his castle, high on the rocky promontory to the east, where it overlooks all of the valley of Barovia.
It's a bit hard to miss.
Yes, we saw that.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Paul. I love how it sounds like you're eating all the time and drinking when we're playing.
That's because I am.
There you go.
I'm playing. I'm eating meat.
He's doing good.
When he drinks ale, it sounds like he's eating.
Yeah, exactly.
That is actually just me trying to sound like I'm drinking. Sorry.
He's getting into character. I love it.
I'm committed.
And all right, so they okay. Whoops, come on. What is there we go. All right.
So Lord Strahd. Yeah, we saw his castle.
Yes. Yes, he is a good man to have as an ally, but he is a dangerous foe. We do our best to try to avoid his wrath. It usually does not go well for those who get on his bad side.
Understood. I think we'll try to stay on his good side. But thank you.
No, you are most welcome. And so as you all are here, you notice that as soon as your mugs start to get a little low on ale, or your plates start to get a little empty, Luvash does not hurry to remove those, but a lot of the young Vistani women, who are all dark-eyed and long dark hair, usually with some curls. Their hair usually hangs down at least to their shoulder blades, if not farther. And some of them have like little kerchiefs holding their hair together. Others just have it falling down around their faces, and they have multiple rings on each hand, and bracelets that look like they are made of anything from copper to maybe thin bits of gold. They have earrings, and of course very gaudy looking dresses and whatnot. They all come and they will ask you very sweetly if you want any more food, or if they can bring you anything, and they'll sort of give you smiles, and some of them will give little winks to you, and they'll sort of go off over there and look at you, and then sort of whisper to each other and giggle, and kind of looking in your direction, and doing that sort of thing. So clearly they are flirting with you, and to what end you all aren't exactly sure, because of course there's a bunch of young Vistani men about the same age who, some of them kind of start looking very jealously, when you start getting attention. And so when the girls will leave your table, these Vistani men will quickly go and grab one and start dancing with her. And
yeah, I grab Thalager by the arm and says, "Don't think about it. That's the last thing we need."
I hope he does.
And I look over at Grinner and I'm like, "No."
Well, Mulek is sitting there enjoying this fabulous ethnic meal and telling them to bring more. It's delicious.
Okay. All right. So they will happily bring more. Now, you sent Casper to fly around. did you bring him with you? Like, did he light on your shoulder and you bring him with you into the tent, or does he go off and?
No, I would have, as we got closer, I basically just used Casper to just kind of do a little look-see, look around. And then as we came into the camp, I just would have communicated to Casper to just find a tree and just keep watch.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. And, so you guys are there, and Luvash is in no hurry to get you to finish your meal. He seems very content, and he seems to enjoy the attention that the young Vistani girls are paying to you, and he just sort of, he sort of smiles at you, and you catch the eye of one, and he'll sort of give you a little wink. Whoever is talking to him or to the girls. Oh, you say that? You say that when the girls talk to him, and they look at each other and they and then one of them will come up and bring another plate to you. She will put it down and she will say, "I am Laura," and she says, "I made the stew. I hope you enjoy it." And then she runs off with her friends, and they giggle as she comes over to them.
I'm smiling his ass off at me, like he's like smirking almost at this point.
I just put my hand in my face, or I do a face palm, and I'm just shaking my head, just like, no, because this is the last thing that we would want. Is just somebody runs off with one, and next thing you know, we're all in deep shit. You know what I mean? So let's not. So I know Mulek's a good, upstanding man. I don't think he would do that.
I'm all my interest is in the food right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I respect that.
Okay. The stew, it is very hearty, and it's clearly something that you would expect to find like a good farm wife would make. It's got some beef, chunks of beef in the stew. It's got some, a thick liquid base with it. There's potatoes, carrots, chunks of celery, and it has some mild but very unusual spices. It's a little bit unlike any stew that you have had. It's not unpleasant, but it's just different. And all of the food is spiced in a way that's it's consistent. There's a consistent set of spices in this food, but it's very different than what you guys are probably used to. In the Sword Coast, it would probably be considered exotic, but it's clearly food made by common people for common people, but sort of a fancy meal for common folk.
My stomach's already growling over the prospect. You've done enough, Gally, don't worry.
Well, and that's why Mulek enjoys it so much. It's just a common meal. It's got just a little bit of that ethnic flair. It's not any kind of fancy, like that we just got from in Gracklstug, and Mulek has just found that he is just starving after that harrowing incident from the night before, and is just surprised at how hungry he is. So,
okay, and you will notice Lara is occasionally she'll be looking at you, kind of like hoping you'll give her some sort of signal whether you like the stew or not.
Oh, I'm hoping that this isn't will be taken the wrong way, but I give like a 2 thumbs up, and I'm hoping that means it's good.
and she and her girlfriends, they sort of whisper to each other, and Luvash will lean over to Mulek and say, I am not familiar with that. You like the stew, no? You certainly seem to be eating like you enjoy it.
Yeah, from where I come from, thumbs up is good. 2 thumbs up is very, very good. Yes, the food is delicious.
Oh, all right. Well, Lara will be very pleased to know that. If you stay in our village much longer, you may find her cooking all of your meals for you.
Oh God!
Oh no!
I knew it. We're trying to marry Mulek off.
Hey. Valister, you may have to write a new ballad about some lovebirds soon.
And so he kind of sees the way the rest of you are treating Mulek, and he kind of gives Faldor and Falazur and Krenraid kind of a conspiratorial wink, and
Oh my God.
He just sort of nudges Mulek with his elbow, like, okay, yeah, I see what you guys are doing. We'll have some fun at your friends' expense.
You guys are funny.
Well, we wouldn't pick on you if we didn't love you.
I'm not looking for a full-time cook at the moment.
But you could definitely use a full-time therapist.
and then Luvash says, Take it from one who was snared early myself. The longer you keep them chasing you, the more they will desire you once they catch you. So.
Oh Lord, I can only see if we stay here tonight. Jeez.
There is another who already has my heart. So.
Oh wait, really?
Yes. But that is a story for another time.
Okay.
and he looks at you and he says, I think I like you, Mulek. I would not want to see one of the daughters of one of my friends misused for a comfort girl while a man is on adventure. You are a man of honor. I will break the news to Lara. She will be sad, but she will get over it.
She will find someone who will enjoy her cooking just as I do.
Oh, yes, she will. She is one of the best cooks among that. If I were not already a father and not already married and I were her age, I would want her to feed me.
As he probably goes wink, wink, and nudge, nudge a lot.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Hey, speaking of this delicious food, I got something that could improve it. Hey, Falazur, you got that hot sauce?
Yeah, I got some in my bag. He reaches in his bag and he gives it to you, and he also gives you his untouched stew. And he pulls out, and he pulls out his, he pulls out a pipe, puts it with some tobacco, and lights it.
Listen, you guys have got to try this thing. It's from my friend here, Falazur's homeland. And if you get it in your eyes, it stings like hell. But
yes, but we don't put it in your eyes. We didn't have this conversation.
No, if you put it on food, it's freaking delicious. Just don't eat it like a bear.
And Luvash looks at that, and he looks over at Falazur, and he says, my friend, is there something we can get you? If your stomach is upset, we can bring some milk or something to help settle you.
I'm good. I appreciate the hospitality. I'm just not in the mood to eat right now. Don't take it the wrong way.
Oh, that is all right. Well, if I may give you a little advice, uh, try to have a pleasant look, or else Laura and all her friends may think that you need cheering up. And then he looks back at Krenraid, and he says,
Oh,
if you and your friends do not mind, I would like to try a few drops of that.
Absolutely, please. I mean, is that okay? Frau, what do you say?
I mean, it's not something you normally eat by itself. You put it on stuff, you know. But okay.
Oh yeah. He has somebody bring him a plate of stew, and he will be, he will be very ginger with it. And he's like one of these people that says, well, I've heard it's really good, but I've also heard it's really hot, so I don't want to overdo it. And so he puts like 2 or 3 drops onto a little bit of his stew, and he sort of scoops that up, and he puts it in his mouth, and he chews a little bit, and then his smile kind of broadens, and then as his smile broadens, you can sort of see some sweat on his cheeks, and he is like, oh, Krenraid, that is good. Falazur, this is you. You do not have any of this that you brought to sell, do you?
I'm afraid I only got that bottle, but I guess I could share half of it with you if you like.
Oh, well, what I was thinking is you must talk with some of our wagon drivers. You must tell them more of this Faerun, as you call it, and when we travel next, we may see if we can find this Faerun, and we may do some business and purchase some of this from your people. I think once the other villages learn about this, there will be a new commodity that is, as you say, sells like hotcakes in Barovia. And so he puts a little bit more on his meal, but then he closes up the bottle and he gives it back to Falazur. Clearly, he doesn't want to take Falazur's supply, but he is going to be very interested in trying to figure out how he and his people can procure some more.
It's one of those large bottles. It's a large bottle, and he's like, "Well, like I said, you bring me a fresh bottle, I'll give you some of it free. Consider it a gift for your nice hospitality."
And he says, "Truly, the mists have brought men of great honor here. Well, this is wonderful. I will have to let my Aunt Eva know that you are here. She may want to speak with you." And so he calls to his wife and he says, "Bring me a small clean bottle, please." And she's like, "Yes, dear." She runs off, and after a bit he comes back, and so there's a bottle that's maybe a quarter of the size of your bottle, and it's a rather thin bottle, and they bring that to you, and they're clearly going to let you put as much in there as you want. They're not going to presume to take it, but he's extremely grateful for any amount that you give him. All right. So let's go back here. At some point, the breakfast ends, and he takes you out and he takes you around around this large main tent, and you can see that on that at that pole where the young Vistani man had been lashed, he is now no longer lashed there, but Bluto is standing at that pole in the same position, his arms outstretched and wrapped around the pole, and his shirt hasn't been pulled off, but there are a number of Vistani children, and you notice Arabelle is among that number, and they are standing there, and they are throwing little clods of stuff at Bluto while he is, basically lashed to this pole. And you can tell that, they're tossing mud at him. And you see a couple of the children that probably have what looks like overripe fruit or overripe vegetables that they throw at him. And then there's a couple of the children that actually have what look like dried horse dung, and they're throwing that at him. And Luvash sort of looks over at him, and then he looks back at you and he says, they are just getting him ready for his trial. And he takes you beyond that pole to one of the wagons, and the wagon that he leads you to is about the same size as the others, but it's slightly different in that the back wooden door has two large padlocks on it. And Luvash pulls a key out of his pocket, and it's on a little silver chain. And then he reaches up and he unlocks the first padlock. And then he puts that key away, and then he reaches into another pocket and pulls out another key on a silver chain, and he unlocks the other padlock, and he puts that away. And then he opens the back of the wagon, and the wagon just kind of looks like it's filled with different items. But there are several of them that are close to the back, and he indicates these items with a hand. And he says, you may take any of these treasures. I will allow you one treasure from the treasure wagon. Decide which one you would like to have. And so you look at it, and you see one is a wooden chest, and it's kind of a good-sized wooden chest with a closed sort of barrel top. And then there's another slightly smaller iron chest. Neither one of these chests are locked. There is an onyx jewelry box that is chased with gold filigree. Then there is a wooden throne with gold inlay and decorative stones on it. There is a what looks like a rolled up carpet that has a lump in the middle of it. And then there is a small wooden box. And as Luvash looks at it, his face suddenly goes a little bit. He gets a little bit alarmed, and he quickly reaches out to that small wooden box, and he says, "Oh, this should not be in. This should not be in here. These are items that we use in some of our traveling shows. I am sorry. This is not for sale." And so he takes it and he tucks it away. But then there are those 5 other items that are there. He says, "You may choose any one of these."
Is this one per person or one for a group?
Oh, friend Mulek, I wish I were wealthy enough to allow one per person, but no, I'm afraid it's one for the group.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. Mulek's gonna put on his glasses, pair of glasses that he's got, and use them to detect magic.
Very smart.
Okay. You're going to detect magic.
So basically, this is using my artificer skills, and
Okay.
I put on the goggles, and it will make anything glow that's magical.
Yes. Okay. So, what you notice is that there is okay, where is this? Yes, you notice that there nothing glows except for one of the items. And it appears to be the carpet, and it is not the carpet itself that is glowing, but it is whatever the lump in the middle of the carpet is that is glowing.
I take my glasses off and I tuck them back in and kind of what's in the carpet?
Oh, that is a special treasure indeed. Now, you have horses. You have a way of carrying the carpet.
No.
Well, that is a bit of a quandary because of Vistani custom. It is customary that when a gift is given, it is taken. If part of the gift is not taken or part of the gift is left behind, it is considered rude. And
I see.
Were you or your friend Falajor or your friend Krenraid or your friend Thaldor were to think that perhaps you could make a gift of the carpet, then if you gift it to Lara or one of her friends, they will definitely think that they have caught your eye.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Cred.
Yes. So
what do we cut it up and each of us take a piece to remind us of this wonderful occasion?
Wait, what's in the middle of the carpet?
Yeah,
A
what's
lump?
going on?
there's a lump in the middle. It's a rolled up carpet with a lump in the middle, and the lump appears to be glowing.
To Mulek, I haven't really told anyone else yet.
Yeah.
I look over to Mulek. Mulek, what do you see? As I whisper to him.
There's something magical in there, but we would have to take the carpet along with it, and I see no way of carrying that carpet. I don't think I would. Would I be able to fit that carpet in my bag of holding?
What kind of magic is it, Mulek?
Oh yeah, I would know the school of magic.
You sure would. Let me Let me do. I've got to look at spells. So, it looks like it is rather powerful transmutation magic. And yes, thinking about your bag of holding, the bag of holding has a weight limit, right?
Yes.
It not necessarily a volume limit.
I mean, it cannot exceed 64 cubic feet. And
okay. Well, it's the carpet roll is about 10 feet long, and from you figure that you could roll that up tightly enough that you could comfortably hold it in your two hands. Now, of course, it's probably a little bit bulky and heavy, but yeah, you could roll that up and stick it into your bag of holding. So yeah, you would be able to carry that.
Okay. Well, my eyes on that carpet. I don't know. What are you guys interested in?
Oh, that is a good choice.
No. Here's my question. Did he say we each could pick something, or he's just
no? Just one.
It's one for the group.
Yeah, I'm up for that. If it's something magical, then we think it might benefit us. Then I'm down for that.
Very nice. It's very pretty. You can put it in a corner.
And if we ever, get back to Faerun, that carpet, if we had us a little place together, we could just throw it down on the floor. Hey, it'd look nice.
It would always remind us of here.
There you go.
I second this notion.
Okay.
Ballinger.
All right.
I mean, it's whatever.
Okay. Let's do this.
Luvash, can you tell me this? Can you tell me a little bit about the history of this? But is this something that you made, that your people made? Did you purchase this somewhere? Was it a gift yourself? What's the history of this fabulous looking carpet?
This carpet, it was a gift. It was a gift to us for a service that we provided for the Burgomeister of the town of Barovia itself.
Well, it's a fine carpet, and it's caught my eye.
Well then, if you all believe this is something that you would like, I am happy to let you have it.
It reminds us of this wonderful place.
Okay.
And the hospitality we received. So yeah, it'd be great.
Okay. So he once he sees that if you all are in agreement, is there any discussion or disagreement?
Okay. We're all in agreement.
Okay, so he helps you pull that out, and he carefully helps you set it down on the floor or on the ground, and you realize that whatever is in there, now that you can see it, is probably about, that lump is probably about 2 or 3 feet long, and it's definitely that part of this carpet is a bit heavier. So this is a nice, fancy carpet. So think like a Persian rug or something like that. So it's got some heft. The carpet itself has some heft to it. So whatever is in the middle of it may not be as heavy as the entire carpet itself, but it definitely weighs down that part of the carpet.
Okay. And it's something that is separate from the carpet. It's just rolled up inside?
Yep.
Okay.
Just rolled up inside it.
Okay. So he just hands it to us.
He helps you get it out, and there's like some blankets spread on the ground over there, so you can go and set it down if you want to unroll the carpet and see what's inside. Or you can save that for later. It's up to you guys, whatever you want to
do. Looking at Luvash, what kind of body language do I get as to what would be appropriate to like open the gift now or wait till later?
He is busying himself with closing the doors of the wagon. He's kind of humming. Sounds like he's humming a snatch of one of the tunes that was being played in the tent. So he's like not even paying attention to you guys now.
Mulek will probably just quickly kind of unroll and just take a quick look.
Okay,
I'll help you because it's a big carpet.
Yeah, I mean, we will have laid it down and then I'll just kind of unroll just to take a quick look and then roll it back up and examine it further later.
Okay, so you guys unroll this, and as you unroll it, you realize that what is in there is some sort of a magical doll, maybe?
Ooh.
What?
And and when you unroll the carpet, its little eyes open and it sits up.
Oh my.
And then it turns and it looks at you.
Oh my.
Oh God.
Well, hello there.
And that's where we're going to take our break.
It's Chucky. Oh no.
Oh, what did you do?
Get the hammer. Get the hammer.
No.
That is where we are going to take our break. So,
oh my.
Pour hot sauce in its eyes. I'm kidding.
So you guys chat. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We're going to go on a break for about 10 minutes. I'm going to put some of the Stream Beats music on for you guys, and then we will be back. I'll put the timer up to let you know.
Oh goodness, I know what that is.
It's got a bunch of mice on its belt.
No, but I know what it is.
And then we'll do this.
This is no bueno. I don't know the whole thing of Curse of Strahd, but I do know what that thing is, and this is no bueno.
I don't know anything about Curse of Strahd, but I don't trust any fucking dolls. No matter what campaign it is.
The only thing worse is a clown.
Good thing it was a gift from Millik.
Lovely.
Right, exactly. It's your problem now.
Oh my goodness.
Should have just took the money.
Did he offer money?
Well,
Probably.
Yeah. I figured we had lots of money.
Wow.
So go for the magic.
He got glorious hot sauce and we got a doll. Okay.
Yeah. It's not just any doll, though.
All right. Did he start the timer already?
Yeah,
Probably.
All right. I guess what time are we coming back? 9:40? Or 40? 10 minutes?
Yeah. You got
All right.
9 minutes.
Got 9 minutes. I'll be right back.
Oh man, God, I know a little bit about that because, like I said, I bought that Escape from Castle Ravenloft, Choose Your Own Adventure type book thing, and I know what that little doll is.
You don't like Blinsky?
No, he's an ass in that Choose Your Own Adventure book, dude. Seriously, like that little thing, dude. The music is very loud. Okay. What's up, Drats? Yeah, he's an ass in that Choose Your Own Adventure book. Like it's weird. Like one part of the adventure when you meet him, he's up on the top of you meet him on the top of the tower, and he takes you down in the basement. You can go that way, and you can choose which way you want to go and stuff. But he literally, if you go this one way and you go into like this big ballroom type thing, there's a ghost that shows up, and the ghost is like, "Yeah, that little bastard killed me." pushed me down a set of stairs. I'm like, yeah, okay, this ain't gonna be good.
So this isn't actually Blinsky, this is the other one. There are several things. I'm not going to say what any of them do, but they exist. And
What?
it's going to be fun.
What, the dolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like clockwork dolls. They're really. When he said transfiguration, I didn't know what it was, but when he said transfiguration, that's because they're imbued with magic too. It's weird. That's all I do know. I don't know anything else.
So
just
this
know
little
about
fucking doll can do transmutation magic?
No, he is transfiguration.
Yeah, exactly. He's been transmutated himself into that.
I tried to do a Louisiana GIF. Them motherfuckers don't have a single Louisiana hot sauce GIF. Like, people are fucking crazy.
I just typed in hot sauce and I would look into it. I wouldn't know the difference.
I was going to say, yeah, I bought that cookbook today because my wife loves cookbooks and we always love cooking. But in that cookbook, what's cool because it is the actual official D&D cookbook, and it got it for a good price. It was only like $25. And I looked in the cookbook and I was like, it actually has in like the very, I'd say, quarter of it. The book's pretty damn thick, but in the very front quarter of it, it actually has the whole menu from the Yawning Portal and everything, and it breaks down all the prices of all the food. Like, it literally is that thorough. I was like, my God. I was like, that is cool. I was like, my wife goes, what's the Yawning Portal? I said, you'll meet that when we play Dragon Heights. you will go, it's Waterdeep. You'll find out what the Yawning Portal is. She says, why do they call it the Yawning Portal? Because there's a big ass hole in the ground in the middle of the bar, and people want to go into the Undermountain to go fight monsters, and most never come back because they just never come back. It's what Chris tried to get us to do when we were in Waterdeep.
What? What about Chris?
Remember when we were in Waterdeep and at the Yawning Portal, and he wanted to go into the Undermountain? He was like, let's go in the Undermountain. Let's go have an adventure. Let's go. I'm like, no. We'd be stuck there.
What are you referring to?
The Yawning Portal.
And
the big hole in the middle of the Yawning Portal to the Undermountain.
Yeah, but what about?
Describing it to my wife.
Oh.
They had this book for Heroes too, where they were talking about all the food items being listed.
Yeah, the cookbook. It's in the Discord. I linked to the cookbook. It's called Heroes Feast, and it actually breaks down the whole menu from the Yawning Portal with the prices and stuff, and it describes it like it describes the Yawning Portal a little bit. She goes, what does it mean when it says there's a big well and opening in the middle of the bar? I said, you'll see when we play Dragon Heist.
You'll see. So you're gonna cook anything from that? I'm imagining a lot of it's kind of like meat or bread, right?
Oh, dude, there's so many recipes. More than that. Like when he talked about stew, I think there's a stew recipe in there. There's ribs, there's potatoes, there's breakfast foods, and it breaks it down by races. It goes human, elf, dwarves, and halflings.
That makes sense.
I also have the cookbook from World of Warcraft too, the official World of Warcraft cookbook. And we've actually cooked some stuff out of that, like some crab cakes and stuff. Oh my God, dude, they're amazing.
Crab cakes by themselves are freaking amazing. Crab cakes World of Warcraft inspired sound great. I've had some cocktails that are kind of game inspired before, but never really the food. Food is definitely something I want to try out.
The next cookbook, yeah, it is. That book, yeah, it's thick as hell. It's one of the thickest cookbooks we own. The next gaming / cookbook I want to get her is the one from Fallout, the Fallout universe cookbook.
How to cook rat.
Rad meat. Rad scorpion meat, different things. I mean, it's cool. I mean, and she was like, oh, so when we actually start hosting D&D in person again, it's like we can cook food from the cookbook and show the cookbook off, and our friends can be like, eat, it's like, oh, we're eating food from Heroes Feast. So all this food that we prepared came from the cookbook. So
sounds amazing. I've got one biscuit left. It's taunting me. Like these were never going to survive.
So I mean, these are actual biscuits.
Oh, like British like bourbon biscuits. That's like very small biscuits, essentially.
Oh, I got you.
I like to have like a little tower, like 4 or 5, and then eat them periodically just to keep myself satiated and awake. Whenever we're eating, like in a scene, it's just so easy to just snap one in and you're like, yep, I'm eating now. This is perfect.
There you go. That's right, Drats. I'll charge them the prices, right? 1 gold piece. Most of it wasn't really that expensive. Most of it was like silver pieces, so it wasn't too bad. But no, yeah, it's cool. Like I said, when I think biscuits, I think like Southern style biscuits.
Yeah.
Like big, thick. Well, they're probably about the size of, I don't know, how can I describe it? About the size of a small pancake, I guess, like real small pancake. About that size, but thick and just, flaky. And oh God, now you make me want some biscuits.
I'm making myself want those kind of biscuits too. We have those over here as well. They're just slightly different. Very similar to a scone, which is very popular pudding.
Right. About the size of an English muffin, but fluffier. There you go.
Yeah. I have had, I haven't been to America, unfortunately. I've always wanted to, it's on the list. But I have had American.
Come over to the pond. You got to come over the pond and come to the south, and we'll show you how to eat.
I've been told this a few times, so I'm gonna have to believe it. I've seen the pictures. I've been informed.
You gotta have you a good old plate of. Gotta have you a damn good plate of chicken and waffles.
Someone sent me a picture of I can't remember what they called it. I think it was called a stakeout. But basically, they had like a mobile grill that's inside of a van, and they went to an NFL game, and then before the game started, they just cooked out just
that's tailgating.
Tailgating, just ridiculous amounts of meat, like of all sorts.
Oh yeah,
and
buddy.
it had all sorts of it had like tubs of sauces, like so many potatoes. I'm like, oh my god. This looks amazing.
Yes, tailgating is the American pregame tradition. It's very different than the pregame traditions in Europe, which, as my imperfect understanding is, everybody goes to the pub, gets a few pints, walks over to the stadium, enjoys the game, then goes back to the pub and has a few more pints, and then they take the train or the bus or whatever back home. Here we load up the car. If the game starts at, let's say, 7 in the evening, you'll be considered late for the tailgate if you get there at noon. And, people bring all kinds of their own, alcoholic beverages and their grills and the food to grill. And because the whole family goes, you got to have all of the, the balls and the toys and the games for the kids to play with. And then it's like a big, huge social event. And people just sort of wander around the tailgate. Folks who are cooking their stuff will kind of be itinerant hosts, and their friends will come by and they'll have some stuff, and then they'll go over and visit their friends and cook and eat what some of their friends have, and then people they see occasionally will wander through, and complete strangers will come by and hey, have a beer, here, have something to.
Oh yeah, and most of them don't even go to the game. Like, they don't even go into the stadium. They just sit out there and listen to it on the radio. Or I've seen people roll TVs up and literally watch the game in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I was told as well. They would just stay outside while the game's going to just eat a bunch. I was like,
it's
a party. It's a big party.
For my alma mater, for college football games, you'll get a kick out of this, Michael. The stadium on campus holds 45,000 people. it is not unusual for somewhere between 70 and 80,000 people to show up to tailgate. So it's like, people show up and the entire campus becomes this big, huge tailgate party. And like you say, half the people never wind up going to the game. They either stay on campus and watch the game, or they wind up going to a sports bar and watching the game instead of going into the stadium. So it's that's a big, huge tradition here. It's very much the sport culture.
I'm back.
That's lovely. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
I'm talking about food again.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Okay, where are we doing? Okay, we
We're
are
staring at this creepy doll.
Done with the timer. The countdown is over. I'm gonna go turn the music down. And once again, I want to say thank you to everybody that is here tonight in the chat. Drats, Epic, Skylan, Packing, everybody. We're really happy to see all of you guys that are here, and we hope that you are enjoying this session of Sword Coast Chronicles. When we last left our heroes just before the break, they had been offered a chance to get a treasure from the Vistani treasure wagon, and they took the carpet that had a big lump in the middle of it, and when they unrolled the carpet, they found this what first looks like a little doll, but then its eyes opened and it sat up on its own, and its little head turned and looked at Mulek.
Go back up. I'm playing.
And,
oh God, he's imprinted on Mulek. Back up.
And Mulek said, "Well, hello there,"
which was great.
and the little doll just then sort of turns to Krenraid and looks at Krenraid, and turns to Thalador and looks to Thalador, and turns to Falasher and looks to Falasher, and then its head keeps turning and kind of goes backwards and looks at Lugash, and then the head just keeps turning all the way around 360 degrees and looks back at Mulek again. And then it just sort of kind of articulates its little legs, and then it stands up. And you can see that in one hand it holds what looks like a little striped baton or club, and it's very detailed. It's got this little jester cap on, and these little puffy sleeves, and there are what appear to be some mice on its belt, but as you look at it closely, those appear to be fabric mice. So it's like this is a very detailed little thing. And then he's got actually a little pouch that actually does have a space that he can hold stuff on his belt. That's all sized for him. And without the cap, he stands about 2 feet tall. So he's actually a little bit shorter than a gnome. And of course not nearly as large as a halfling or a dwarf. Probably Krenraid, he looks the size of a dwarf child. And then he just looks up around at you, and then he looks down and he sees that he's standing on this carpet, and then he just starts walking until he walks off the carpet. And
Mulek's just going to go, you can turn off now. Go to sleep. Off.
And
anyone see an off switch?
And he
I've got an off switch right here. I'm going to get my hammer out.
He
No, hold on.
looks at Mulek like he doesn't understand what you're saying, and then Luvash says, "Oh, so that's where that went. Yes, well, treat him well. He will treat you well. He doesn't eat much, and you may find that he is handy to have around."
Is there an instruction manual?
What?
Instructions. No.
What language does he speak?
Oh, he does not speak. He will understand simple commands if they were part of his design.
Stop.
He's not moving. I mean, he's not walking.
Oh, you thought you said he was walking away. I didn't know.
No. He walked off the carpet and he just walked off the carpet and it's standing on the grass or on the blanket or whatever you have the carpet on at the moment.
Can you sit down for a second?
And he looks at you, and then he looks over at Mulek, and he looks back at you, and then he just sort of kind of does this thing where he sort of crosses his legs a little bit, and then he sort of lowers himself, and then he sits down on the ground.
Well, that's nifty.
I wonder. Go to sleep.
And when you say sleep, his little jaw opens, and you can see that there's a little tube inside his mouth.
Oh, stop.
Oh my God, are you telling me he was going to put out some sleep gas?
That's what I'm saying. Stop. I don't know.
And he just sits there looking at you with his little mouth open.
Did he stop?
And he just sits there.
This is interesting.
All right, I'm going. I'm just going to pick him up and I'm going to put him in my bag of holding. We'll roll up the carpet and shove the bag of holding. We'll work on this later. I'm just gonna put him in.
Okay. All right.
He doesn't look like he's breathing. I'd imagine.
When you pick him up, his little mouth closes, and then he just sort of looks at you. And as you put him into the bag of holding, he just kind of looks up at you as he disappears into the bag of holding. And his face doesn't have any articulation, so you can't really see expression on it, but he's just sort of looking at you, his eyes open.
Luvash, who can tell us more about this doll?
Oh, you want to know more about this? Then you would want to go see let me make sure. He was made long ago by a toymaker named Von Weirg. Von Weirg no longer exists now, but perhaps if you go to, I believe it's Vallaki. I believe it's Vallaki. If you go, there is whoops. Yes, if you go to Vallaki, the town down by the lake there, go and see the toymaker, Gadolf Blinsky. Blinsky is the most famous toymaker in all of Barovia now. He may be able to tell you something about the creation there.
Okay. Is there anything that we should not do or say with this doll? Is it dangerous? Is it? I mean, looks like a wonderful gift, but I honestly don't know what to do with it.
I will tell you this. Do not tell him to kill unless you mean it.
Okay.
My ears perk up a little bit when he says that.
That's slightly disconcerting.
Would we lose control of it if we asked it to kill? Like, say, what if we got attacked by a monster? If we said, go kill the monster, would our lives be in danger as well?
No, but if you do not mean it and you tell him to kill, and he does, then he certainly will not be held accountable by any authorities.
Well, that makes sense. I understand that. Okay. Thank you for this wonderful gift. It's very unique.
Very.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And thank you. I was hoping that we would be able to be rid of that before the children got too curious about it.
Yeah, I could see how that could be a potential hazard.
Yes. Well, friends, you are welcome to stay with us as long as you like. You are also welcome to be on your way if you need to be. And you say that you do not have horses. We could possibly sell you some horses if you, and we would give you a good price. And if you have anything you might want to trade for a horse, I know that my wife is very fond of nice carpets.
We just so happen to have a freshly strewn carpet. It's had a bit of damage done to it, but it's still very good.
Actually, I forgot to describe the carpet to you, but you guys would have seen it. And the carpet has this beautiful unicorn embroidered into it, and it's kind of a forest scene, and it's a nice big 10-foot by 10-foot carpet. And it looks like if you took it back to Waterdeep, you could probably sell it for some good coin. You do have that bag of holding, and you don't know. You haven't asked him how much he would charge for horses. You might. He might sell you horses for a reasonable rate, but he was thinking. You all said earlier you didn't really have a way of taking the carpet, and he seems to think that he might be giving you an opportunity to honor the fact that you have given a gift, and then use that gift for something that is actually more utilitarian for you guys.
Oh, I have a way of carrying carpet. I think we'd love to keep it. We will definitely use it.
Wonderful. Then gold is equivalent. We will be happy to sell you horses if you think you need them, and for a reasonable rate. After all, you have returned my daughter to me. And had you not acted, she would be at the bottom of Lake Zarovich now.
I look around and to the others, and I say, honestly, I don't know where we're headed to next.
I guess the village to get more info on our little friend that's swimming around that bag there.
To Vallaki.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah. Vallaki, I think. Yeah.
What time of day is it? It's just morning.
Oh, it's yeah. You saw the girl probably maybe half an hour after sunrise. So you saved her. It took maybe an hour after you saved her to get here to the camp with all the discussion you were having with her and Pluto and everything. You probably 2 hours with breakfast. So it's now, somewhere. If it were back home, it would be somewhere between 10 and 11. Oh wait, Mila or Thaldor has. Yeah.
Yep. It's about 10 or 11.
Probably about an hour before midday.
Well, I know exactly. It's 1 hour before midday, guys. So we should be fine. And north is that direction.
I love how you always say that direction, and we just know to attribute that so you know where you're going.
Well, if we're looking at the map, I'm pointing. If we're looking at the map, I'm pointing towards the lake. That way's north.
Yep.
I love it.
Luvash, will you and your family be here for a while? Will you be leaving to go to another place soon if we want to come back and visit?
Oh, no. This is our home when we are not traveling. And as I mentioned before, I believe that my Aunt Eva might be interested in talking to you. So if you go to Vallaki, spend a day or two there. If you come back this way, we will be here, and perhaps my great aunt Eva will be here as well. It would be good for her to speak with you, and perhaps profitable for you to speak with her.
Is she? And sorry, she is not here right now.
No. She is traveling with her band, but we expect her by very soon. She is in another part of the valley.
Oh, okay. All right. Well then, should we go to Vallaki then?
Yes, and if you go to Vallaki, I will give you 2 pieces of advice. First, do not say anything about Bluto Krogarov. We will let them know that he has met with Vistani Justice.
Oh,
second,
that's right. That's right. You mentioned Bluto. Was he going to have some type of trial? Were we going to assist in the judgment?
It is your right as visitors and as our guests to sit and provide your advice to the council. You are under no obligation. We are already in your debt for the safe return of my daughter. We would not impose anything upon you. If you have a schedule you must keep.
I think we should just let them deal with what they're going to do, Mulek. I don't think we should interfere.
Let me just ask, when do you plan on having this trial / judgment, the decision made?
His trial will be at sundown. His judgment will be at midnight.
Well, before I go, I would just like to say, you mentioned earlier that your Lord may have brought us here through the mist to save your daughter's life. I think it might be possible that we were brought to save not only one life, but 2. And I say this in that your daughter was safe. She is not dead. And maybe, if it is your desire to spare Bluto's life, and I'm not saying he does not deserve punishment, but he definitely deserves that. But maybe if you spare his life, it might bring additional fortune to your family. I don't know how, and I don't know when, but I feel that there is a possibility there. And I leave that with you before we leave.
And while you're talking, Arabelle walks up, and he he doesn't say anything while you're speaking, but he sort of walks up and he hears most of what you say about Bluto. And, Luvash seems to sense his presence, and he turns and looks at his brother. His brother looks at him. They don't say a word, and then they just both nod once to each other. And then Luvash looks back at you, Mulek, and Arabelle just sort of crosses his arms across his chest. And Luval says, "Indeed, my great-aunt would very much like to speak with all of you. You, Mulek, you may have the sight. The sight is very important to we Vistani. I give you my word. Nothing, no sentence will be passed on Bluto until you have had a chance to talk with my great-aunt, Madame Eva. And she has had a chance to delve, to see your touch with the sight. If nothing else, you are a man of great conscience, and I respect that."
Thank you. You are a very honorable man as well.
For that, should we go visit his aunt before we go to the village?
Well, the aunt's not here. She'll be here in a couple days.
Oh, okay. Then I guess we can go to the village and then come back.
Yeah.
Better to have a wedding than a trial, I'll always say. I wink at Mulek.
And Luvash looks at Falajor and he says, "I will enjoy that hot sauce." And he says, "Come, Arabelle," and he claps his brother on the shoulder. "You must try this hot sauce. It is amazing." And they start to walk back towards the tent.
The man that brings different things to different lands.
Yeah. And so then you guys want to head back towards oh, wait a minute. There were two things. You cut him off before he could tell you the second thing. So let me finish what he was going to say. First thing is, don't tell him anything about Bluto.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is, do not get on the wrong side of Ezek. He'll tell you the Burgomeister of Vallaki is a fool, but Ezek, the captain of his guard, is a very dangerous enemy. You do not want to get on the wrong side of Ezek.
Okie dokie. Thank you for that sound advice.
All right, so you guys head back down. Oh, I can go ahead and I can close this since he is in a bag of holding now. You guys go back and head towards the town of Vallaki. And I guess you all would come in basically from the west as you go down the road and come towards the west gate. So I'm going to go ahead and get our map and move us over here. Okay, and then I'm going to reposition and resize this a little bit. So you guys would be coming in by the western gate. And then just for reference, the camp where you guys have been is kind of down here in this corner. And so then you would be heading towards the western gate. And then I'm just going to, do that. All right. So you guys come over towards the western gate, and we will see what. Okay. As you approach the gates, the gate is open, and there are two guards that are armed with pikes, and they wear kind of old but serviceable and kind of well-maintained chainmail, and they have shields at their belts, and they also have short swords at their belts, in addition to the pikes that they have with them. And as you guys start to walk towards the gates, the two of them, they look at each other, and they look at you, and they then sort of move from the sides of the gates towards the middle of the road as you all approach. And one of the guards is a man, and he says, "Good day, travelers. What brings you to Vallaki?" Anyone?
Yeah.
Whoa, lost.
We are looking for get it,
Toymaker?
Blinsky.
Yes. Okay.
My name is Mulik. We are new to the area.
Okay. He says, "Oh, yes. You come to see Blinsky. You are toy merchants?"
We've come across what we think he might be interested in looking at. We have some questions for him.
Ah, well, okay. Well, you must know that the Festival of the Sun will be in 4 days. You are welcome as guests to participate in the festival. And if you are in the town, we expect to see you in the town square for the Festival of the Sun on that day.
And 4 days from today?
4 days from today.
Oh,
Yes.
wonderful. Sounds interesting.
Will there be food?
Oh, the Burgomeister always has food at the festivals.
We are also looking for possibly a jeweler or someone who deals in gems.
Oh, a gem merchant. Well, you may find. Oh goodness, where are? You might want to. You might want to check at the Burgomaster's mansion. The Burgomaster would be probably the best one. We are not so wealthy a town that we have a jeweler, but
I see.
The Burgomaster may know of someone who can assist you.
Okay, how about someone who deals with incense?
And they look at each other, and then they shake their heads. And y'all can make me an insight check if you wish.
Ooh, asking too many questions.
Why are you asking all them questions?
So Mulek with a 16.
Ooh.
Falcor. Wow. Crinraid?
It's just being a bit slow.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, gosh. It's too bad that. Okay. Actually, two of you have it. Thaldor and Crinraid. There's a look that passes between them, and the female guard looks like she's almost about to say something, but the male guard kind of gives her a little shake of the head, and she doesn't say anything. And that's in response to his question about incense.
Something.
So no incense either?
Mulek.
Yes.
No incense.
No incense. Oh, okay. Dang, I really like to go to sleep with a nice smelling scent. Okay, that's fine.
And out of character, I'm glad you picked up on that. Something tells me out of character that in this village, they don't really like magic too much. I know nothing of this game, Gally. I promise. I know nothing of Curse of Strahd, but something tells me when he said incense and he perked up like that there's no. Yeah, they don't like magic.
I'm getting that vibe. So,
all right. So you guys, they will kind of point you to the direction of the of Blinsky's, which is located kind of over in this part of the city. And so as you walk through the town, there is a large church that you come to. And you notice that, okay, where are we? Come on. This is a slouching, centuries-old stone church, which has a bulging steeple in the back and walls lined with cracked stained glass windows depicting pious saints. A fence of wrought iron encloses a garden of gravestones next to the church, and a thin mist creeps among the graves. And the church definitely looks like it has seen better days. But you...
Does it appear that it's still being used or it's in disrepair?
Oh, no, it is being used. And in fact, you notice the doors to the church are open, and you see several you see a couple of village women along with several children climbing up the steps to go inside. And, the way this old church is sitting there kind of, almost sagging, you keep expecting it to kind of even groan under the weight of one more person walking into the doors, because it just looks like, it looks like it's in sad shape, but apparently it is being used, and people have no qualms with going in and out of it.
Are there any symbols or anything that would tell us what who they worship?
There's the bell tower is at the far side of the church from the road, and the doors are open. So without going up to the doors, you couldn't see, like if there's any kind of holy symbol on the doors. And obviously then you'd have to look inside to see if you can tell any kind of iconography. And because of the way the steps raise up to the door, you can't see that from the road. You'd actually have to go over to the church and climb the steps and look in if you wanted to tell anything like that.
No, I'll just stay on the road.
Okay. All right. So you guys pass this church, and when you get maybe to about there's one road that eventually peels off to the right, and then when you get to the first road that peels off to the left, you kind of hear behind you kind of a thin clang, clang, clang of a church bell from that church.
And also, before I forget, before we left, I would have blinked Casper out. Casper would not be out with us.
Okay. So he's not flying around. And
no.
He's not, okay. No. Okay. All right. All right. So you go on and you pass a second street on your right, and as you're walking through the town, you see that there are several different types of folk that you see around. You see a few guards, and they appear to walk in pairs, and they just appear to kind of have kind of like a patrol route that they walk around the city and through the streets, and they just sort of nod at citizens, and the citizens nod at them. And then most of the peasants, or the townsfolk, I should say, seem to be dressed kind of in drab-colored clothing. It's like they, at one time, they had really nice gray clothes, but now they're kind of faded gray and a little bit, they've kind of had some gray dirt on the gray cloth, and it's a little bit some of their pants and things are kind of smudged with gray, and they just have kind of gray leather on their shoes and whatnot, and it's a very drab sort of looking dress that these people have. Is very, very different than the Vistani. The Vistani, all these bright colors. This is just exactly the opposite. Very monotonous, sort of faded blacks and dark grays, and none of it looking like it's very, very new, from what you can tell. And most of the people seem to just be carrying on about. You do notice every now and then you will see a person that appears to be guiding someone else along. And invariably, the person that they are guiding along just kind of seems to have a vacant sort of 1,000-yard stare, that they're just sort of looking at nothing, and not seeming to see any of their surroundings, but they're just kind of walking along with the person that is guiding them, as though they're kind of just almost on autopilot, if you will.
As we're walking, I'm going to take my glasses out and put them back on, but this is going to be done via the ritual, so it's going to take about 10 minutes for my glasses to kind of charge up and work. But
maybe
once those 10 minutes
to get to the shop you're going to. So.
Yeah, so once that 10 minutes is up, I'm just going to be seeing because I'm getting a little spooky vibes here, and I just want to see if I pick up any glows from anywhere.
From the people, no. there's not really any glows coming from the people that you're
Glasses.
seeing.
Yeah.
Now, as you get kind of towards this main, whoops, I'm sorry, I had the wrong tool up. As you get towards this main intersection here, where you have to turn to go towards the toy shop, you do see coming from further east in the town, you do see some horses. And there are a couple of black steeds of that seem to be of more or less normal horse size, and then there's a slightly larger gray steed that is riding with them, and it's all three of them have riders, and as they get closer, you see that all three of the riders have the livery of town guards on them. And then as you look at the person that is kind of in the lead of this trio, you see that he is a human, and he wears a cloak that has some ermine fur around the neck of the cloak, and he has a large, instead of a pike, he has a large pole with an axe on the end of it. And the thing that you notice is, as he's holding the reins with his left hand, and he's holding the haft of that axe with his right hand, and the sleeve of his cloak is sort of off of that right arm. And that right arm is about twice as large as a normal human hand should be. And it appears to be covered in some kind of a pebbly, grayish, almost like scales. And he has very sharp black fingernails on the end of that hand, which come to sharp points. And as the three of them are riding along, you can just sort of see the townsfolk. They're just sort of making way and getting out of the way and clearing as these three ride along. And when you see them, they're probably a good 50 yards or more ahead of you.
My guess is that's Ezek, and I get up close to Faerun, and I whisper a few words. I reach my hand in the bag of holding and call forth the stone speaker crystal, and I say, Faerun, I'm giving this to you. You may find it useful. And I cast Fortune's Favor on him.
Okay. Fortune's Favor. Okay, so luck is given to Faerun. So when you make an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw for the next minute,
it lasts for an hour. He gets an hour to use it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was looking at casting time. Duration is 1 hour. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Okay, so you can throw an extra d20 and decide which one to use. Okay. All right. So good. Fowler sure has that. Now, people appear to be making way for this trio. Are you guys going to stand in the road, or kind of follow the lead of other people and make sure you're off towards the side of the road?
I think we should blend in with the crowd, Mulek.
Yeah.
Well,
stand to the
yes.
side as well.
Yeah. I don't want to be standing out in the road.
Okay. You've kind of reached your turnoff by this point. You head down that road, and to the best that you can tell, those three, they just keep riding up the main road and go past, and they don't seem to take any special notice of you. And as you go down this road, you do come to a building. And okay, so let's see where, here we go. There is, you realize that you have reached your destination. It's a cramped looking shop that has a dark entrance portico, above which hangs a wooden sign shaped like a rocking horse, with a stylized bee engraved on both sides. Flanking the entrance are two arched, lead-framed windows. Through the dirty glass, you see jumbled displays of toys and hanging placards bearing the slogan, "Is no fun, is no Blinsky." And you also notice plastered to the wall of the wall next to the door, there is a sign, and it's kind of a broadside sign that like might be put up with paste, and it says, "Come one, come all, to the greatest celebration of the year, the Wolf's Head Jamboree. Attendants and children required. Pikes will be provided. All will be well. The Baron."
Well, that's not a weird custom, is it?
Sounds like a party.
A
party with pikes? Oh.
And specifically asking for children?
And the the door is there. Do you guys go into the shop?
I'm gonna knock first. Not rude.
Oh, it's a shop, and it's daytime, so you would presume that as a shop it would probably be open. If it's locked, maybe the guy is not there, but
yeah, this is the location of the toymaker, we believe.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll go in.
Okay, so you open the door, and indeed, it's unlocked. As you open the door, there's that little bell above the door, ding-a-ling-a-ling, that you hear. And at first, you don't see anybody in the shop, but then on either side of the counter, there are kind of these paired drapes on either side of the counter, and one of them on the right hand side opens up, and a man walks through, and this man has the most colorful costume that you've seen of anybody in the town so far. His shirt is blue on one side and red on the other side, and he has a hat on that reminds you a little bit of the hat of the strange doll that you recently procured from the Vistani. It's got kind of that same jester type thing, but instead of the festoons of that hat, being curved up, they kind of are laying down across his shoulders. And then you notice that riding on his right shoulder is a tiny brown monkey with a white face. And it sort of looks around to take in everything. And the man steps out and he says, friends, my name is Gerolf Blinsky, the wizard of tiny wonders. How are you? How may I help you? As the sign says, is no Blinsky, is no fun.
Do I pick up any magical glow at all in this place?
Magical. No. You don't. Everybody give me a perception check, though. Actually, I should probably double check. What is everybody's passive perception?
Ulick is 15.
Mine's 17.
16.
16.
Okay. Who had the 17?
Thaldor.
Okay, yeah, Thaldor, you notice something. This guy, there are different kinds of toys around, and they appear to be of different sort of styles, and some of them look like they've been there for a while, and some of them look like they're relatively new. But there is a collection behind the main counter, and it's on a shelf. And there are like porcelain dolls. And the porcelain dolls are of a woman. And she's a woman who has kind of this by now familiar pale skin, dark eyes, dark hair. But there's probably 6, 7, 8 of them that are all identical. And the thing that catches your eye is you don't notice any other toys in the shop that appear to have any kind of exact duplicate. This is the only one.
Huh. I look at him. Did you make those porcelain dolls behind you?
Oh, yes, I did for a very special client. They're on commission.
Might I ask who? That's wonderful work. Very wonderful work. I'm just curious as to who would order 7 like dolls.
I don't know. I think they're creepy.
Oh yes. They are for Isaac Strazi, the captain of the guard. He has asked for them. I am almost finished with making the commission for him. I have only 5 more to make.
I think we might have seen him out on the road. Does he ride like a really big horse?
Oh, he was not headed this way, was he?
No, I don't believe so. No,
He told me that I had until the end of the week. He's not coming. He's not coming now, is he?
No. I don't even know if it was. I don't even know if it was him. What does he look like?
And then
I would remember his face if he describes him.
Then he seems to really take you all in. He says, "You're not from around here, are you?"
No, we're new to the area. We're travelers.
But Isaac, he is a large man who rides a large horse, and he has a large axe, and he's just large. Do not get on his bad side.
I think we did see him. He went a different way.
Oh, good. And then he kind of brightens up a little bit. He says, "Good. I am not expecting him to come for his order until the end of the week. Now, how can I help you?"
Yes, Mr. Blinsky. Myself, I'm a bit of a tinkerer. I like to, put little things together and see how they work. And I see you have a vast collection here. Do you happen to have anything that maybe does a little bit extra that you wouldn't normally think it could do? Maybe a little bit of extra, I don't know, special power or anything that just really gives a little bit of pizzazz? Do you deal in anything that sounds like that?
And a kind of a slow smile creeps across his face. He says, "Well, of course, all of my toys do something extra. They bring smiles to the children who own them."
Oh, very good. I'm looking something maybe a little bit more magical.
Oh, magical toys. Oh, there have not been magical toys in Barovia for a long time. A long, long time.
Oh, why is that?
And he looks at you and he says, "I am not sure we should talk out here. Come to the back of my shop."
I look to the others to see if they're okay with going to the back, because Mulek sure wants to.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I want to get away from these dolls. They creep me out.
And so now let me ask, would any of you normally carry either kind of like loosely or in a sack that is not tied very well? Would you carry any kind of like finger food or something like that, or would all of your rations be kind of stowed in your backpack?
All mine are in my bag of holding,
Okay,
and I would be carrying anyone else's if they had asked me, but I don't.
Yeah, I usually let Mulek carry my rations.
Okay.
I'd have an ale or probably some form of whiskey jar. Other than that, no food.
Yeah, whiskey would be the only thing I carry on my person loosely.
Okay. Falisher?
I carry my stuff in my backpack.
Okay. All right. So he holds the curtain, and he seems to expect all of you to come. He's not like trying to separate Mulek from the rest of you. He sort of gives you the opportunity to come to the back, and in the back of his shop, you can see that there's a little workshop, and then there's kind of a stairway that goes up, and it leads to a door. And you guys are familiar with village things. It looks like this is probably one of those things like where he has an apartment upstairs above his shop, so those stairs probably lead to his private living quarters. But he has a few chairs back here, and he clears off a space on his workbench, and he kind of leans back against it, and he indicates the chairs for you guys to all sit down. And he says, "No, Barovia, We have not been blessed to have magical toys, not for a long, long time. The last magical toy maker that I knew of was old Van Weerk. Fritz Van Weerk. He was a legendary toy maker. I wish that I had a chance to meet him. It is said that he made marvels that have not been seen in a century or more here in Barovia.
What would you do with one of these marvels? If you had one.
Are you saying that you know where I can procure one of Van Weerk's, Fritz Van Weerk's creations?
I'm just saying if something magical were to come into this town, would that be a bad thing?
It would be a bad thing if Izek knew about it. A bad thing if the Burgomeister knew about it. If I could make enough money from it to leave this town, I would certainly want to go somewhere that I could learn by studying something that Fritz van Weerk had made. You pique my curiosity.
Well, as we say, we are travelers and like to tinker, and I too have heard of this Van Weerk individual, and I was told that you might be able to enlighten
Travelers? Me. None of you have the look of Vistani.
No, we are new to this area. But we came across some information that you might be able to tell me more about Van Weerk and some of his creations, that you might be able to maybe explain what his creations could do. Is that something you might know, or something that you would not know?
He says, "Hold on a moment." And he steps out and goes back into the shop. And you can hear him crossing over to the door. And then you can hear the latch being worked. And then you can hear a bolt being closed. And then you can hear a bar being lowered into place. And then you can hear some curtains being closed. And, then after a few moments, he comes walking back in. Then he goes to the back of his little workshop where there's another door that probably leads to an alley or something. And he goes and he locks that door and he puts a bar down across that door. And he says, "It is very dangerous for the wrong people." Oh, yep, I can hear you.
I rolled an insight check on him, Gally, to see if he was on the level.
Okay,
make sure he's not trying to the reason I did that was to make sure he's not if Mulek shows him this or whatever, that he's not going to turn us over to the authorities.
Yeah, that's what.
22. With a 22 insight, you can tell two things about him. He is very excited for the potential to possibly learn more about a Van Weerk toy. He is also terrified of what would happen if the wrong people knew that he had even seen one, let alone might have an opportunity to have one.
I look over at Mulek and I say, things with what's going on, I think everything will be okay, but this cannot leave this room.
I'm I'm getting that feeling.
He'll be okay with it. That's the feeling I'm getting. He'd be okay, but this doesn't leave this room. You hear me, Kernraid?
Mm-hmm. I hear you perfectly clear.
Yeah. Mum is the word. Quiet. Nobody knows.
And so he comes back, and after he closes and bars the back door as well, he comes back. He says, "Tell me what you know. I cannot take a chance that someone would come and overhear what you are saying. I'm sorry for the precautions, but it could be very dangerous if Isaac or the creatures of the Burgomeister knew."
Yeah, I was starting to get that feeling as I entered the town, thus all my questions. May I show you something? And I start to reach for my bag of holding, but I'm looking to see if he is okay with me to... I want to show you something that may have been created by this Van Weerg.
And as you say that, an involuntary smile grows on his face and his eyes light up, and he gets an eager look, and he just nods to you. He doesn't say anything. He just nods, and is like, you can tell he's kind of like an excited kid on Christmas morning about to rip the paper off of a package.
And I reach into the bag of holding and I call forth the carpage creature to my hand, and as soon as it comes, I set it on the ground.
Okay. You take it out of the bag of holding, and its eyes are closed when you do, and its mouth is closed. And you take it, and as you set it on the ground, you realize that kind of it just seems like if you let go, it would fall over. So you sort of lay it down. And as soon as you lay it down on the ground, its little eyes open and it sits up. And Blinsky is like, how came you by this? It is marvelous.
I must warn you, I don't know what this doll can do, but I know that it can be, and I lean in and just whisper, I say, it can be dangerous. So don't give it any commands. And we came across this doll in our travels, and I do not know what all it can do, and I'm looking for someone to help me understand.
And he starts to tremble a little bit. And, then you look and you see that the little creature, it has sat up, and its head is kind of doing that whole thing where it's turning around, looking at its surroundings, and it's stopping to look at each of your faces, and then it stops to look at Blinsky's face. And then it just sort of stands up, and it just looks at around at each one of you, and then looks back at Blinsky, and Blinsky says, "Oh, this cannot be, can it? This cannot be." And he turns and he looks, and there's a bookshelf up above his workbench, and he reaches up and he grabs an old tome, and he pulls it down, and he puts it on his workbench, and he opens it, and he flips through several pages, and then he says, he looks at it, and he says, I think I know what this is. If you all wish, you may stay where you are seated, or you may stand over by the curtain. But I must test this to know for certain.
What are you going to test?
I am going to see if it responds to the name that I think it was given.
Okay, are we safe standing where we are standing?
If it is what I think it is, you are, as long as we are all friends.
Okay, good. We are friends. Again, insight that he is on the level with us and doesn't mean any harm.
Go ahead, make your roll.
Would I know that, or do I need to roll again?
You would have to roll again.
That's
Roll again.
Yeah, he's being perfectly honest with you, Mulek. You trust him implicitly.
I did. I'm doing a chronal shift on this.
Okay, all right.
Oh my word! Jeez.
Faldor, your read on him is he is too excited to even think about trying to bluff you or, be smooth or anything. He's just so his excitement is talking, and his when he says that as long as you guys are all friends, that seems to come a little bit. Just there's like this trace of fear about other people finding out about this.
So out of character, ooh, cold chills. So out of character, he's afraid that we could turn the doll on him, pretty much.
Yes.
Okay. So I look over at Mulek and I give him a nod and I say, "It's okay. Nothing will harm us or him."
Well, I'm looking at it as if he's giving the command word, I get the feeling that he would then be able to command that doll.
No.
I'm feeling.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
And
my hand's on my hammer. I don't trust any of this.
And he says, Piddlewick, entertain. And the little doll looks up at him and then stands up straight and then takes the little club and turns its wrist and puts it into what seems like a cleverly designed, almost like little sheath to hold the club. And then it reaches into the little pouch it has and it pulls out 3 little colored balls. And it steps to the center of the space between all of you and it starts juggling the little balls. And
he called it Piddlewick.
Piddlewick. Let me do this. So the doll's name appears to be Piddlewick. So the little doll starts juggling. And then while he's juggling, his head just sort of turns around and looks at each of you in turn while he's still juggling the little balls.
I clap my hands, like not loud, but I give him a hand clap, like a little appreciation.
Oh, when you applaud like that, then his head looks at you, and then the entire body just turns to sort of face you, while he continues to juggle, and
nice.
Then after he has juggled for maybe about a minute, he starts to do a little dance.
Oh my God, this is awesome.
He sort of dances while he is juggling. And for a musician such as Fallager, you can tell that the kind of dance he's doing looks like it's kind of like a little folk dance that is like to a jig or something, and there's no music that is played, or you can't hear any music, but it seems like this is part of his, if you will, his programming or his design is to dance when he's told to entertain, dance and juggle when he's told to entertain. And then he does that dance for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then he does a flourish with the balls, and he throws the last ball high in the air, and he spins around, and then he catches that ball, and he puts all 3 balls into the little pouch, and then he spreads his arms and he bows very low and just holds that position with his arms outstretched, like a performer who has finished a little routine.
And Mulek will join with the clapping, just kind of hesitantly, just kind of clapping.
Okay. And Blinsky, he can't help himself. He starts clapping too, and so the doll just sort of acknowledges everyone who is applauding, and with little bows in each of your directions, and then he slowly stands up, and then he reaches and he pulls the little cane or the little club out of the sheath, and then he just stands there again, and he is looking back.
When he had his hand out, I handed him a copper.
And when you hand him the copper,
Thouder, and I see Thouder, as I see Thouder doing that, I'm like, be careful. We still don't know what this does.
Yeah, I know, but he's a performer, so I hand him a little copper.
He takes the copper and he looks at it, and then he closes his little hand around it, and then he looks up and he looks at each of you in turn, and he looks at Blinsky, and then he turns, and Mulek, he walks over to you, and he reaches his little hand up and he holds the copper piece out for you.
Oh wow, he loves Mulek.
Yes,
he does, doesn't he?
So I'll reach my hand out. I'll reach my hand out and just hold it there to see if
he drops it. He drops it into your hand, and then he stands back up, and Blinsky says, "Oh, so you are the first who saw it, yes?" He says to Mulek.
Apparently.
Yes. It appears it has imprinted upon you. Yes, this is Pidluik. And Pidluik was made for a very special purpose and a very special person. And as honored as I am that you have shown it to me, I would not take it. I think Pidluik would like to stay with you until it can be reunited with its rightful owner.
Who is the rightful owner?
Would you all like tea?
Sure, I drink tea.
Yeah, I guess I can.
Very well.
As long as it's not served one of those creepy dolls, sure.
I will put on tea, and I will tell you the story of Pidluik. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how we will start our next session of the Sword Coast Chronicles.
Yay!
All
Clap,
right.
clap, clap! Yay!
All right. Hey, everybody. Chat, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this evening. This has been a lot of fun, and we hope that you have enjoyed our little foray into the Curse of Strahd. The players, as you can tell, are still trying to figure out exactly what the hell is going on and what they have gotten themselves into. And as a DM, I love it that way.
It's hella more fun this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm enjoying where they are going with this, and I'm enjoying what they are trying to do. And so hopefully we can tell a very entertaining story while they are here, and we can see where this leads them. All right. I have the traditional questions for two of the players, and this time I'm going to start with Michael. So, Michael, between now and next Thursday, what is going on over on your Doors of Fear Twitch channel?
Well, here in about 2 minutes, I'm going to play Back to the Future, the Telltale game, which is pretty retro, and you can't find it pretty much anywhere anymore since Telltale went under years ago.
Okay.
So that, and I just feel like in a retro 1980s mood for a minute. So if anybody wants to stop by after this, come on over and see me. I'll be playing. I tell you what,
while I'm going through my spiel, go ahead and spin up your stream, and then we'll raid you. So that
it's running.
Okay, all right. So I'll just go ahead and raid you when I'm done here.
Well, thank you,
and
Gally.
Then Paul, what do you have going on between now and next Thursday that you'd like to let the folks on the stream know about?
So every Wednesday at around 7:30 CST, which I don't think conflicts with any other games that are going on, which is perfect. We have a dungeon crawl with the Action Surge, which is great fun. It's always a hell of a laugh, and the audience can kind of like give inspiration or spawn monsters or various other bits and bobs, and you're trying to get through some of the older module dungeons, like we did the Shrine of Tomoa-chan and things like that, working that out with all of its traps and fun things. So that's something I'm really enjoying, and they're putting a lot of effort into. So that's definitely one that I will be bigging up. I'm not sure I'm going to attend the next one because there's lots of new people trying to get in on it, and I want to give them a chance to have some fun too. So I'll probably not be there next week, but I like to show up every now and then, and they do a lot of effort. So big up to them, the Action Surge on Twitch.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, go ahead and check them out over there at the Action Surge. And then on this channel, we have several more streams coming up before next Thursday. On Saturday night, we are getting close to our last session of the Lost Mine of Original D&D. We are playing through the Lost Mine of Phandelver with the original rules of the game as Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax imagined them back in the 1970s, just to see how differently that adventure plays. And it's been a hoot. There's a great bunch of players that are having a lot of fun with that. And they are approaching it with all the abandon that original D&D was intended to be approached with. Then on Sunday afternoon, Ken, who plays Falliger in this game, he will be back for the Walker of Waterdeep. It's a 5th edition planeswalking game that is currently going to be in the 90th session of that game. And we are in the plane of Kamigawa. And they have finished up one major part of their storyline, and there's a couple of more things they have to do in that plane before they take off for another plane that we will discover in a few sessions. Then on Monday, I'll be doing part 2 of my Monster Monday series on goblins. There's so much information about goblins in D&D that I've had to break it up into a mini series of about 4 or 5 parts. This last Monday in part 1, we kind of reviewed how the goblin proper has evolved from the original iteration in the game through 5th edition. We're then going to be looking this week at goblinoids. We will, in a future session, be looking at sort of the religion and culture of goblins, and we will eventually look at how you can build an entire campaign where goblins are the primary antagonists all the way from the beginning of the campaign through the end of the campaign. And when I say goblins, I mean goblins, goblinoids, the creatures that are allied with goblins, the creatures that typically enslave or control goblins, but how you can make an entire goblin campaign for D&D. And at least there's one way you can do that, because there's obviously a million different ways you can do that. So we'll be looking at that over the next few weeks. And then also, I'm hoping I'll finish the editing by tomorrow, but I'm starting a new YouTube series, Lore Friday series, on the book that came out just this week, Candlekeep Mysteries, where we will take a week and look at every single adventure from that 17 adventure rule book or source book as a separate entity. We'll talk about sort of what the book gives you in terms of how you can use Candlekeep itself as a setting. And then at the end, we will imagine one way that you could turn all 17 of those stories into a campaign that has enough connective tissue that you can take one party all the way through those as a multi-level campaign. So that will be exclusively over on the YouTube channel. All right, and now, once again, as we said, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to Doors of Fear. I am going to go ahead and raid. Does he have a? Aha! There we go. Okay. And in 3, 2, 1. Okay, thanks everybody. And you're off to see Doors of Fear play Back to the Future.
Good night.
Bye, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
All right, wonderful. Oh, okay.